had to come and see Robert and had my interview with Robert, and straight away I think we got on quite well from there. Initially we were talking about the sword fighting styles of the Vikings, and it's something I studied as well as various other different skills, but and that was what the initial part of it. And obviously then once I've gone through the script and read that, I like the authenticity of it. I just come from other big films as well, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but it was nice to get to something a little bit true and a little bit heavy and gritty, you know. I knocked off the cobwebs of various things for Viking style fighting and stuff like that, because we all get used to swinging great big axes and smashing down walls with mainly big weapons, but actually the blades weren't quite that heavy, and and the fighting style itself was there's more finesse to it. There's things with the shields, rather than just banging onto the shield as protection, you use them to push the blade away and to deflect it. It's very much like fencing. So that was good. So I went back and went to look over that. I've been throwing lightsabers around for 3 years, so it's nice for me to work again with the heavier steel. We was involved with Robert quite a bit. Normally we do previews of fights and then we show Robert, but we were literally upstairs from him. So he would come up and look at a fight as well and get involved with it as well. So that was one of the most enjoyable parts of it, because then you're not barking up the wrong tree or running down the wrong road. It's the boss is there and he's come to see it. And he made changes as well. I'd quite like this, quite like that. Obviously then we start training with our actors, and you have to work to their ability. On this film, there's only one camera, so to get your cuts in there is very, very difficult. And so that was a process for me to learn as well. There's no cheats, I'm using my actor. For some scenes, we spend quite a bit of time prepping the actors, ready for the scenes, like for the fight scene. Claes worked very, very hard. He would come in 3-4 times a week for a couple of hours with the guys and work with those. Alex, whenever we could get him, because he was obviously so busy, and unfortunately because we closed down for a while, we'd already been training, but it was quite a big gap. And then it was a case we was up and running, so we grabbed him when we could. And they with Alex's tend to land one on top of the other. So I didn't want to teach him something which is, before we taught him something else, so we can clear his mind and we move on. But he picked up a lot of stuff quite quickly. And you bear in mind that these are the actors and you watch them move, so you try and put the fights to suit them, not to suit your stuntman or some guy who's amazing with it, because it won't be them on the day. So it's their fight. So that was important. But they also went off into horse riding and various other stuff. And obviously they were training probably 4 or 5 times a week as well, because they're fit guys, they put a lot of muscle mass on. So they've been working. We had a gym here, they had a private gym elsewhere. Part of our sword fighting and our fighting lessons, but it's a big workout as well. So it's not easy on the guys or the ladies. We've had our ladies come in and do fights as well. When you talk about stunt-wise, I talk about fights because they were one of the biggest things we did and the battle we did. But no, we were rowing boats, we were swimming in the sea. It's not warm out here. And Alex did a great job in the sea. We also had our boat on stage with tip tanks, which are big, 3/4 of a ton of water coming down a chute and smashing into them as well. So let's time that right. Otherwise it sends them across the deck, and we don't really want that. So that was great fun. Special effects did an amazing job on that. They also would have pots of mortar pots, which would fire water up as well. Obviously anything to do with animals, horses and dogs. We had dogs attacks on it. We did in the village scene with dogs attacking people. We brought specialist handlers in for the attacks. All the cast have been amazing, and they've all been fabulous to work with. place was fantastic. The amount of work he come in and worked and got himself in shape, and no, we've got on with him quite well. Alex is a dream, and that boy can act as well. It's so that's he works very closely with his double. They're bigger boys than me, so I can do a move, and actually my double will go. It sort of suits him a little bit better, so they can go away and work with it. So those guys got on well. It was lovely to see Nicole. I worked with Nicole years and years ago, and she's still as good. An amazing actor. She's really turns it on. And it was amazing. I can't really put a finger on it. I didn't really have one bad one, to be quite honest. Swords from the sword masters, from the armory that they would write down. We had an authentic sword which they brought in, and Robert was showing everybody, this is like the real one. It's been dug up. It was a bit of a mess, but you know, it would be over all them years. But and it was nice to be involved with it. And the props, I mean, they're amazing. Something would turn up, everybody would look at it. That would go if it wasn't right. It wouldn't even go in the background. That's not on the set. So I think it was a big part of it. Even the boats. I mean, they built those boats. They're amazing. Yes. So authenticity. I think I got it right that time. I think was bang on the money as far as I'm aware. Working with Robert was an education for me. I really got on well with him. I think I did anyway. We had some fun, some good times, and some head-scratching times together. And I did learn a lot from him, you know, from a side which I don't overlook, but I'm not that interested in so much. It might be a bit too hearty for me or two, but I really got into it and really enjoyed it, and he educated me with things like, why is he doing this in the story? And well, that's what everybody would expect him to do. So not everything is expected or corny as what we think. So there was a big mind process in it as well, and he would involve me quite a bit with things which don't have nothing to do with stunts, but it would help me with the flavour for later on. So he was a clever man with that, the governor. No, he was a dream to work with. I'm hoping the audience will watch the film and see the depth of it. It's deep. There's a lot more to it than, especially with the fight. It's not two blokes going bang, 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 bang. We can do that all day long. But there's more to it. You know, we're trying to get those looks of the acting. It's rich. If you look really closely at it, it is rich. I want to see when it is fun, enjoy the fun, because within it, there's some fun characters in it, and the hardship of it all. It was a hard time, especially for the slaves and that. It's just, and look at the way they shoot. The beautiful colours, the richness of it. My big word about the film, I'd say richness. And the script, stick with it, because it's all in there. So it's just very clever.